in our discussion about the Earth processes. Wherein from our previous video lesson, we discussed that there are two Earth processes, the endogenic and then the exogenic. Wherein when I say exogenic, these are the processes that happen on the surface of the Earth, like weathering, erosion, etc. When I say endogenic process, these are the processes that happen within the Earth. Our example is the magma formation, the metamorphism, etc. So today, we are discussing the melt number 16, which is an example of an endogenic process, which is to explain why the Earth interior is hot. So today's topic is all about this. Earth's interior heat sources. Bakit ba mainit sa loob ng Earth? So ano ba yung mga heat sources doon? So we will be explaining that today. And we do have this specific objectives such as number one, identify the sources of the internal heat of the Earth. And number two, we are going to explain the process of the production of the heat of the Earth. So before we go with the different heat sources, let us have first a review about the layers of the Earth. So we all know that the Earth is composed of three major layers, the crust, the mantle, and then the core. Wherein the crust, we do have two types of crust. We do have the oceanic and then the continental crust. And when we talk about mantle, we do have the upper mantle and then the lower mantle. The uppermost portion of the upper mantle is what we call as the asthenosphere. The core is divided into two, the outer and then the inner core. Not to mention, we do have the discontinuities, the different boundaries. We have the Mohorovicic, which is found in between the crust and the upper mantle. We're in the Gutenberg, discontinuity is found um, in between the lower and then the outer core. Now, so in terms of the temperature of this layer, let's have the geothermal gradient. This graph shows kung ano yung temperature ng bawat layer. So what happened here is as we go deeper, the temperature goes higher. Kung i-compare natin yung temperature ng bawat isa, aside from their thickness, the thickest is the core, followed by mantle, and then the thinnest is the crust. In terms of the temperature, habang pumupunta tayo sa pinakailalim ng layer ng Earth, mas tumataas ang temperature. Not to mention na tumataas din ang pressure. So sabi sa geothermal gradient, as we go deeper, the temperature goes higher. Now, the question is, bakit kaya habang pumupunta tayo sa ilalim ay umiinit ng umiinit? Ano kaya yung heat sources sa ilalim ng Earth? So, that's the topic that we are about to discuss today. Now, Earth's interior heat sources. In terms of the Earth's interior heat sources, meron tayong dalawang heat sources. The first one is the primordial heat, and then the second one is the radioactive heat. Okay, now let's go to the first heat source, which is what we call as the primordial heat. When I say primordial, it means existing at or from the beginning of time. When I say primordial, it means ancient, beginning, um, start. That's what they call as primordial heat. So ano kaya tong primordial heat na tinatawag natin? Before I explain what is primordial heat, let us have or let us explain first how the Earth and other planets were created. Ito yung competency na actually tinanggal sa Earth science because we need to compress everything kasi nga limited yung ating days. So, ito yung tinanggal na topic sa atin. Bibigyan lang natin siya ng kaunting discussion para ma-discuss natin ano yung tinatawag nating primordial heat. So, let us first answer, paano na-create ang Earth at paano na-create ang ibang planeta? Or paano na-create ang buong solar system natin? So, the most famous theory that we have for the solar system formation or the origin of the solar system is what we call as the nebular hypothesis. The nebular hypothesis was proposed by Pierre Simon Laplace. According to this theory, rotating gaseous cloud, what we call as a nebula, cools and contracts in the middle to form the sun and the rest into a disk that becomes a planet. Ano ba yung tinatawag nating nebula? Pero sa nebula, it is an interstellar cloud. It is found in space. It is composed of dust, hydrogen, helium, and ionized gases. So, from the composition of nebula, such as the helium, hydrogen, and ionized gas, these are the things that we need para makakreate ng isang star. So, there is a possibility na dito nanggaling yung sun natin. Another thing is, if you may notice, it is composed of dust particles. These are solid particles na kapag pinagsama-sama natin, ay pwede tayo maka-create ng rock mula sa pinakamalalaking rocks. So, pwede rin mag-turn into a planet. So, the nebula. Also, nebula is composed of different elements na makikita natin sa periodic table aside from dun sa mga na-mention natin kanina. Here are the example of nebula. Interstellar cloud. Para daw sila mga cloud sa space na kung saan meron silang iba't ibang colors. But yung composition niya, it has dust, hydrogen, helium, and ionized gases. Now, let us discuss paano from a nebula like this ay nakapag-create siya ng solar system. Let's have that one. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Let us go first with nebular hypothesis before we discuss what is primordial heat. So when I say nebular hypothesis, sabi natin doon sa ating definition kanina. It is a rotating gaseous cloud, a nebula, that cools and contracts in the middle to form the sun, and then the rest into a disk that becomes a planet. So nebular hypothesis is actually the most famous theory in terms of the explanation kung saan ba nag-originate ang solar system natin, saan nag-originate yung mga planets natin, saka yung star natin, which is our sun. Now, so it started with a nebula. Let's say this figure is a nebula. Sabi natin it is a rotating gaseous cloud which is composed of dust, helium, hydrogen, and other ionized gases and other elements. Now, sabi sa nebular hypothesis daw, one day, itong nebula daw na ito ay nag-cool down. Dati mainit yung temperature niya, but one day nag-cool down daw siya. Class, kapag nag-cool down yung object, ano nangyayari sa kanyang particles? Nagko-contract or nag-expand? The answer is, kapag nagko-cool down is nagko-contract yung particles niya. Kapag naman mainit, nag-expand siya. So, kung si nebular hypothesis ay nag-cool down, ibig sabihin siya ay nagkaroon ng contraction. From this structure, nag-cool down at nag-shrink siya or nag-contract. Sabi sa ibang references daw, aside from nag-cool down siya, or nag-cool down, itong nebula na to, meron daw naka-disturb kay nebula. Sabi nila, it can be an explosion sa outer space daw. Explosion na sobrang lakas, sa pwede manggaling sa supernova. So, if you can still remember the supernova, kapag yung star natin ay almost in terms of the lifespan ng star natin, yung pagiging supernova niya, ito na yung time na kung saan pwede nang mamatay yung star, magkakaroon siya ng explosion. Itong explosion na to ay sobrang lakas at na-disturb niya daw si nebula, kaya daw siya nag-shrink, aside from nag-cool down siya. So in other references, that's the reason why bakit siya nag-contract. Anyway, so nung nag-contract si nebula, what happened next si Earth? Si nebula nag-rotate siya slowly. Nung nag-contract daw siya, ay bigla siyang umikot ng sobrang bilis. Nag-rotate siya ng sobrang bilis. So what happened here is nakapag-create siya ng spherical structure. So dati, ito yung shape niya. Nung umikot siya ng sobrang bilis, parang medyo naging bilog siya or naging sphere. So what happened next? Umiikot pa siya ng sobrang bilis. So what happened here is nakapag-create siya ng disk sa gilid. Ba't ba siya nakapag-create ng disk? So actually yung mga lighter objects such as the hydrogen and then the helium. Hydrogen and helium are actually the main composition of a star. So yung sun natin, the main component are hydrogen and helium. They are light elements. So itong mga light elements doon na ito ay naipon sa gitna. Whereas, yung mga heavier elements naman ay naiwan sa gilid kasi nga masyado silang mabibigat, hindi sila naisama sa gitna. So, ang tendency, naiwan sila sa gilid at nakapag-create siya ng disk. Example of the heavier elements are the dust particles. Itong mga dust particles na to, pwede itong mag-combine to create a big boulder of rocks. Next one. Umiikot pa ng sobrang bilis si nebula natin na merong disk. And then, dumating siya sa point na sa gitna ay nag-contract yung hydrogen and helium, the lighter elements, at tuluyang naiwan yung mga heavier elements sa gilid. Let's have a closer look of this nebula with disk. Look at this one. Sa gitna, nag-combine si hydrogen at helium, creating a star. That's our sun. So, meron na tayong star. Nasaan na yung mga planets natin? So, dun sa disk natin, nandito yung mga disk natin. Kung makikita natin sa illustration, yung disk ay merong mga dust components. So, what happened here next? So, itong mga dust components na to ay nag-collide at nag-combine sa isa't isa. Okay. So, itong mga dust particles daw na ito na nasa gilid ng disk or nasa sa disk mismo ay nagkaroon ng collision. They combine to form a big boulder of rock such as this. So from tiny pieces of dust particles, nagkaroon sila ng collision at nag-combine, creating big boulders of rocks. Itong mga big boulders of rocks na to, since nandun sila sa disk, there is a tendency na mag-collide sila at mag-combine sa isa't isa. Sabi ni Viktor Safronov, kapag daw naka 100 kilometer na yung size ng object sa outer space, ay nakakapag-start na siya na mag-create ng gravity. So, nung nagko-collide itong mga object na to, lumalaki siya ng lumalaki because they're combining as they collide. And then, what happened next is, lumaki siya ng lumaki hanggang sa maka-reach na siya ng 100 kilometer. Nung meron na siyang ganung size, meron na siyang gravity. Because of its gravity, nakapaghigit pa siya ng mga objects sa space. Ibig sabihin, from this small, na merong gravity, nakapag-attract pa siya ng mga objects, creating a bigger body, such as this. Then as time passed by, hinila niya pa ng hinila yung mga object na yon until maka-create tayo ng spherical structure na magiging planeta. So, habang tumatagal yung panahon, itong object na to ay nag-evolve into different planets, such as our planet Earth. So, imagine, from nebula, nakapag-create tayo ng planeta, from dust, na nag-combine sa isa't isa, ay nakapag-create tayo ng isang sphere object sa outer space na tinatawag nating planet. So, itong planet na to, since meron siyang gravity, nakahila pa siya ng mga gases at nakapag-create siya ng sarili niyang atmosphere. And if you may ask, saan naman nanggaling yung water? Yung water, i-discuss pa natin siya sa huling topic natin sa Earth Science. Paano naman na-introduce yung water sa Earth? Now, so, actually sa Earth, hindi niya pa lahat na-absorb lahat ng mga boulders, ng rocks na nanggaling dun sa nebula. Meron tayong nakitang discovery na kung saan sa hindi naman kalayuan sa Earth ay merong mga masses ng object. These masses can be dust to bigger boulders of rocks na hindi niya pa na-absorb. Um, um, so si Earth, hindi niya pa na-absorb lahat ng yon. Maybe masyado na silang malayo kaya hindi na sila na-attract ng gravity papunta sa kanya. Now, from this, nakapag-create ng star sa gitna, tapos nag-create ng this, as time passed by, nakapag-create na siya ng solar system. Hindi lang sa Earth yung nabuo, pati yung iba't ibang planeta na makikita dun sa disk ay nabuo din sila using this nebular. It was explained by means of the nebular hypothesis. Now, ano bang kinalaman ng nebular hypothesis sa primordial heat? Okay, let's continue our discussion about the primordial heat. Balikan ulit natin siya. Sabi ulit natin when say primordial means beginning. Yung binabanggit nating beginning dito ay yung formation ng Earth. Yung beginning ng formation ng Earth, the primordial heat. So, si primordial heat, ina-explain niya saan ba nanggaling yung heat ng Earth? Saan ba na-generate yung kanyang heat? Bakit ang init sa loob ng Earth? So, sabi sa theory na to, in the process of the formation of planets, due to the collision of masses in the outer space, heat was generated. As time passed by, the heat escaped from the outer layer of the Earth, whereas in the core of the planet, the heat is trapped. Let us explain primordial heat using the nebular hypothesis. Kung babalikan natin ulit sa nebular hypothesis, ito yung disk na na-create. Tapos yung mga disk, meron mga dust particles. These dust particles combine with one another. In short, nagkaroon ng accretion. When I say accretion, it means growth, increase in size. So, from tiny dust, nag-collide sila sa isa't isa at lumaki siya ng lumaki. This growth is what we called as accretion, increase in size. Nabanggit natin yung term na collision. So habang nagko-combine yung mga big boulders sa rocks na to para makapag-create ng bigger objects sa space, nagkakaroon sila ng collision, and by means of collision, nagko-combine sila. So, and kapag merong collision, ay merong friction. So, at kapag merong friction, ay merong na-generate na heat. I-compare natin ang primordial heat sa pag-hammer natin. Let's say I do have a nail and a hammer. So habang yung pako ay hinahampas ko ng hammer. So hinampas ko siya ng hammer, there is a collision and there is a friction between the two. So kapag hinawakan ko yung ulo ng aking nail, ano yung mararamdaman natin? Merong heat na na-generate kasi nga nagkaroon ng collision and friction. And using these two, na-generate yun ng heat. So ano naman yung primordial heat na tinatawag? Bakit ba siya na-create? So dahil sa pag-collide ng mga object na to, ay habang nagko-collide sila, may friction at nakapag-generate ng heat. And hindi lang siya isang beses nangyari. Multiple times na nangyari itong collision na to. So meron akong object nag-collide, they combined, nakapag-produce yun ng friction, nakapag-produce ng heat. Nakapag-collide again, there's another friction and another heat generation. Nakapag-collide again, nag-increase ulit yung mass, may friction, at nag-generate ulit ng init. And multiple times siya nangyari. Hindi lang siya million times nangyari. Kung ipagko-combine natin lahat ng heat, lahat ng friction na na-generate doon sa pag-collide nila, so makikita natin na si Earth ay dating sobrang mainit na malaking mass sa outer space kasi nga ang daming multiple collision, ang daming friction, ang daming heat generation. Hindi lang siya sa ilalim mainit, pati sa outermost layer niya ay sobrang init. And by the way, since meron siyang gravity, yung yung mga objects sa space na matataas yung density or mga heavier objects, pumunta sila sa pinakailalim, yung mga lighter objects ay naiwan sa taas. So let's continue the primordial heat. Now, mainit na mainit sa Earth hanggang sa pinaka-outermost layer niya. So what happened next? Since yung outermost layer niya ay bare, nasa labas siya, ang tendency ng init ay mag-escape. Ibig sabihin, lumabas yung init sa gilid niya at nag-cool down yung outermost layer. Ano naman nangyari dun sa pinakaloob ng Earth? Since nasa pinakaloob siya ng Earth, ang tendency, yung heat hindi siya maka-escape at na-trap siya dun sa loob ng Earth. So, anong nangyari? So, si Earth, yung outermost layer niya ay malamig na ngayon, whereas yung innermost layer niya ay na-trap yung init at hindi na sila makalabas. That's why, mainit yung loob ng Earth because of the primordial heat. Again, primordial kasi na-create siya dun sa beginning, dun sa formation ng ating planeta. This explain bakit merong heat source sa ilalim kasi na-trap na yung init from those multiple collision. That's primordial heat.